Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, I looked at the calendar this morning. What? November? Halloween is over and we're in them burr months, as my wife calls it here. Wow. What do you think? What a year it's been.
Yeah, well, it was very scary week this week as far as sports, no doubt, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But, man, this whole month, yeah, it has flown. And sure enough, you're seeing several teams, whether it's the NBA or the NFL and, of course, baseball now, but you're seeing teams starting to rise to the top, creams rising up, but also in even college. But that midseason form of a lot of them, it's still some big question marks out there. And, Mark, we've got a big question, especially in basketball, man. I don't know. I'm going to say it right now, that's messed up.
You mentioned the three major sports, baseball, basketball, football. You can also throw hockey and Major League Soccer in the mix, too, and college football. It's one of those weird times of the year. Yeah. Everything is going on at the same time. So there's literally something for everybody. Okay, so here's a question for all the listeners out there. What does the NBA, online gambling, and the Italian mafia have in common? A lot, apparently.
Mark, do we need to talk about this?
Tracy, so we recorded last week's show.
Yes.
And then as soon as we finished recording and closed up shop for the day, this bombshell dropped. Last week, the FBI announced that more than 30 people had been charged in two separate but related criminal investigations. Some of the big names involved include Terry Rozier of the Miami Heat, Damon Jones, a former Cleveland Cavaliers player and assistant coach with the Lakers, and also Chauncey Billups, the acting head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers and a Hall of Fame player best known for his tenure with the Detroit Pistons. All of these men were indicted in their alleged roles in a scheme to either rig illegal poker games with ties to organized crime and the Italian mafia, or shaving points off games and shaving games to fuel prop bets in online gambling. Tracy, this is a big deal. These guys are facing some very serious criminal charges. Chauncey Billups is scheduled to appear in court later on this month in November, with Rozier agreeing to appear in December. Now, the NBA placed both of these young men. These are the two biggest names, Billups as a coach and Rozier as a all-star caliber player. Placed both of them on leave pending the rest of the investigation, and Tiago Splitter was named head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. This is pretty significant, though, and Tracy, the weird thing about it is that Chauncey Billups is actually involved with both different cases, where the Italian mafia is recruiting former NBA players to come and sit in and basically be the decoys and the dummies in these illegal underground poker rings, where they bring in unsuspecting victims. Hey, come play poker with former greats. And all the while, hidden cameras, sleight of hand, they are taking these guys for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Once again, this looks incredibly awful on a league and a sport which has had its fair share of incredibly awful moments over the years. You think about the Tim Donaghy scandal with the referees fixing games. And this is not the first time we've talked about this, and it feels like we've already mentioned this story before it even happened. But now the presence and that added presence of online gambling, now you're starting to see the players get involved as well, faking injuries, sharing confidential information, and people are profiting off of it. Once again, my guy Adam Silver doesn't look too hot right now.
Yeah, your guy. You always I'm not left with this, guys, because this is so important. I'll be honest with you, and not only from the aspect of people are going to go to jail, but also here's what I feel is just literally a crime: is that the kids that look up and the young adults that look up to these players, what are they thinking now? And I'm being serious. This is something that, wow. And we're talking Hall of Famers, Mark. Hall of Famers. And now we're talking about crime that dates back, well, to the Sox scandal, of course,
Sure.
and things. And of course, Pete Rose is still out, but nowadays, now it's going across the pond. It's bad enough that it's here locally, but you're talking about some big time ties in with one of the biggest mafia rackets in the world. But here's what: did they not think they were? Did they go into it blind, thinking that they were? Now these guys are not. They're making millions already. How greedy can you get? And greed takes care of everything. I'm just telling you right now. So what were they? Did they think that they just happened to be picked out of a crop of some of the most lucrative players in the world? And here's what really kills me again. Once again, it's not like they're already not making millions. But then what does that impact on our young adults nowadays? What kind of image, which already had a black eye, like you said.
Yes.
Already had a black eye.
Yes.
And with the social media these days and all the platforms, this is like wildfire going everywhere, and there's not anybody that's going to not see what's going on. This may be something that they may even air on as far as live TV or something like that, and also that may set a big-time example with these certain guys for other ones not to come in it. But, Mark, here's the question I'm asking you. You usually throw one on me here, so I'm asking you. How far does this go, and how much more is going on out there like this, whether it's basketball or any other sport?
Well, a lot is going on. How far does this go? This may be the biggest scandal. This may be bigger than the Tim Donaghy scandal. It certainly compounds on that. There are already fans, or maybe I should say former fans of the NBA, because I'm pretty sure you fit into that circle, where you already have a bad taste in your mouth, and then you see this happening, and you're not surprised. You're not surprised because that's kind of the reputation that this league has fell in. But here's where it gets worse on my guy, Adam Silver. So the games that Terry Rozier was sitting. So this investigation goes back almost 2 years.
Correct.
It goes back to April of 2023. And that's where the problem begins. The NBA becomes aware that there is an FBI investigation. And also, even before that, the sports books start coming to Adam Silver because on an NBA game on April 6th in 2023, all of a sudden prop bets go sky high in a game against for the Charlotte Hornets, and against Terry Rozier, who was not with the Miami Heat at the time. Now, the NBA did an investigation, and Adam Silver said we couldn't find any wrongdoing. We didn't want to throw his name out there, and I think that's probably why it didn't go public at the time. Is that they didn't want to tarnish someone's reputation if indeed they were innocent. Okay, so the NBA knew about this, and then it became aware that the FBI was also getting involved as well. So as the NBA, if you do your personal investigation, and I get it, they don't have the same power that the federal government has to do evidence searching and subpoenas and things like that. But now the FBI says, hang on, we're getting involved. As the NBA, you have to know that maybe you messed up and maybe you missed something or you didn't have the power to turn over all the stones that you needed to. 2023, right? Let's go to 2024, where another gambling-related crisis hits Jonte Porter. For the same thing, prop bets in the NBA, he receives a lifetime ban. So all of a sudden, this is the second occurrence in a little over a year that this is happening in the NBA.
Right.
Adam Silver and the NBA just signed a massive, lucrative TV deal.
Correct.
Billions of dollars. And all the while, this was lurking in the shadows, and Adam Silver knew that this information was going to come out one way or another. But the fact that the FBI wanted to step in and start investigating, I think Adam Silver knew that this went really, really deep. And I think that the Miami Heat are also big losers in this, not only because their guys, he's going to prison.
Guilty.
He's going to prison.
Guilty.
But also, Rozier played for the Charlotte Hornets at the time. Miami trades a first-round pick and some draft capital over to Charlotte to get this guy. Rozier has not been a very good player for Miami since coming over in the trade. Now, they're probably wanting their draft pick back because the NBA knew, Adam Silver knew that he was under investigation by the FBI. But did the Miami Heat know that? I guarantee they did not know that, because if I am any basketball owner and I'm trying to trade for someone who is literally under investigation from the FBI, I'm not trading for that player because nobody would. So now,
in their right mind,
not only does it stink externally, it stinks internally as well.
Well, Mark, and your guy knew this the whole time. Your guy, and we say this because if you've listened to us in the past about this guy, he knew it, and then they turned the other way. They turned the cheek. And so tell me this. If they did their own internal investigation like they did and they found nothing,
I think all that they could really do is I think they have the right to go through his phone. As technically an employee of the league. I think maybe not even that far, but there's not a whole lot that they could do. So they could be handcuffed there, but the knowledge that this was going on, and then here's a big deal here, here's a big trade here. All this is happening with parties that don't know what's lurking in the shadows, and that's where it gets really messy for the NBA.
Well, exactly. But, Mark, I'm not going with that. What they're doing right now is covering their own tracks.
Oh, you better
they're
believe
covering
it.
their own tracks right now. They're destroying all their laptops. They're going back and doing what they didn't want. Look, nobody wants the NBA to go away. That's obvious. The money's there, and they're not going to let it happen. I'm going to tell you that right now because it's still basically a good game, so to speak. All right, not everybody's involved in this, but I'm telling you what, this is a black eye that is really going to be a lot more than that before it's all said and done. And I think, it's not going back. This is not a political scam right now, but I'm telling you what, right now, it sure has all of the ingredients to make it part of that. I'm telling you.
And what you were alluding to earlier is that, okay, it's blowing up right now for the NBA, and it looks bad for the NBA right now. But this has to go deeper. The Italian mafia is involved, which is crazy to me. So if you said, hey, Chauncey Billups got looped in with the Italian mafia, the first thing I would have thought is, oh boy, blackmail, or they've got,
some on
hit on the family or something like that. But for the fact that the FBI has done its investigation and determined that he is not a victim, he is a accomplice in this, is absolutely crazy to me. So let's talk about how the NBA comes back from this, if they come back from this. So Adam Silver's administration has been anything but nice, bright, and shiny in his time at the NBA. And I will take that one to my grave, most likely. But the reaction has been reactive, not proactive, especially given the league's increasing embrace of legalized sports betting. And that's the problem. The NBA has had two major scandals now involving prop bets since 2023. So we're going into the third season now of this being an issue. And the NBA continues to promote these partnerships with betting while struggling to police insider abuse. And that's creating the tension with the fans. Profit for the NBA, also ethics. Look, if you want to turn this into the WWE and want it to just be entertainment, fine. WWE still thrives with its passionate fan base. But if you want to recover from this, I think here's the three things that need to happen. 1, stricter injury reporting. Rozier would take himself out of games. He would fake injuries. And there has to be a stronger reporting on injuries there. Enhanced player education and tighter surveillance of betting patterns out there. There has to be, if like the online gambling's not going away. I know, and nobody's going to say, hey, no, integrity, we're going to turn away all the millions of dollars that you're giving us. But there needs to be some sort of an independent watchdog, a third party auditing, reassuring fans that the league isn't policing itself inside of a vacuum, and transparency. Updates on investigations and disciplinary actions, to me, are the only keys to rebuilding credibility. This is going to be a turning point for the NBA, and it's either going to be a cautionary tale or this is going to be the spark that finally brings reform. But without transparency and without prioritizing that integrity, I think the NBA is going in a really bad place.
Mark, and here's the deal. If they don't bring down the hammer, and I mean, once the gavel's hit, if they don't bring the hammer down, if they just put a slap on the wrist with this thing, then I'm just telling you right now, it's not worth the conversation we're having right now. I'll be honest with you.
And Adam Silver is passing the buck on this as well. Now, I get it. There's only so much the NBA can do, but if you really want to save face, you could make a hard decision here involving who your sponsors are. But he went on Pat McAfee's show last week and said, hey, I'm in favor of prop bet reform. The league is in favor of prop bet reform, basically passing the buck saying, hey, federal government, you guys stepped in and investigated this thing. Why doesn't the federal government go ahead and fix this, and then retroactively we'll fix it because we're forced to by law? My words, not his. But he's in favor of prop bet reform, saying if the government does something about it, then we'll do something about it. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Well, no, and he's, once again, there's more to it than what we're seeing right now. And we're always behind the lines on everything. But here's the bottom line. Once again, I'm just going to say, Mark, if the hammer doesn't come down on this, then I'm going to say that they're still covering up something, and that it went further than what we see in the public eye and even in the media. And it could have went a lot further, but they're stopping it at a certain place, just like they do in even the government issues when something happens like this. But if Congress doesn't get involved, and this all goes back, Mark, to where greed. It's the bottom line, greed.
And here's the thing, too, if you're the NBA, your faces of the league, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, are all nearing retirement. It's going to happen in the next few years. And when your big three of the NBA are gone and sailing off into the sunset, you're going to have to find a way for fans to continue watching your game. The young stars are great. Don't get me wrong. OKC already off to a blistering start this season. They're undefeated as of recording this show. Mm-hmm. But without those big faces, I think you're going to be struggling to get people to watch the product that you're putting out.
Well, I've already turned the cheek on it and the channel at that, Mark. We'll keep an eye on this for you guys out there and see what happens, man. Just see what happens.
More to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the AP Top 25 in college football and some of the big storylines ahead for the week. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. We're back in just a moment.
Second quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, it's been a while since we've talked about college football on this show, and it's time to take a look at some of those college football rankings. Of course, the AP Top 25 has Ohio State sitting pretty with that 7-0 record in the number one spot, but they are far from the only undefeated team in the country. You have the likes of Indiana sitting at number 2, 8-0 on the year, and Texas A&M out of the SEC looking really, really good with that undefeated mark as well. Number 3 in the nation at 8-0. But other teams down in the mix as well. Georgia Tech 8-0 this year, and Georgia Tech looking really, really good there. 8-0 for the first time since 1966. And Vanderbilt, not undefeated, but 7-1. Their first 7-1 start to the season since 1941. They're undefeated, of course, involves BYU. Feels like BYU and the Cougars are always in the mix there, even though maybe not taken seriously due to the strength of schedule. Ohio State looking to repeat after winning the CFP last year, but I know that you're really big on Indiana. What are your thoughts on the current state of the union in college football?
Well, and right now, Mark, with the latter part of the season, we're really starting to see who's real, who the real teams are. And when I say that, they always have the non-conference that really sets the teams apart, because some schedules are, lackluster and such like that. But now you're starting to see, interconference play now at a premium. And the ones that I think are best right now are rising to the top. I think that the loss that Alabama had earlier, because they were really just sort of mixed up. They didn't have any definition as far as the starters and such like that, but they've got a great quarterback right now that's really making things happen. We saw it against South Carolina when the come-from-behind victory, what he's all about. He's definitely pro-level, all that. But I think they've got it right. So much for these polls. We talk about that all the time. And then, of course, with the extension of the playoff picture the way it is right now, you're going to have some teams. I think this is good. This might be possibly one of our best playoff years ever if they get it right. Once again, and depending on what the setup is on that and who gets what draw. But you're seeing some really good teams right now. I'm curious to see. There's a couple of games this week. The only one that I really don't see them being at number 7 is Ole Miss. I really don't.
Okay.
They've had some close calls. They've won some big games too, though. Don't get me wrong. But I really have a hard time being with them at number 7. And Vandy, who's already had some quality wins already, okay? I don't see why they're at 9. I guess it's because, they're just that. It's Vandy, and we'll see what happens.
Kind of like the Cinderella story.
Exactly.
Diego Pavia, in the Heisman talks for this year.
Yeah. And what about Notre Dame at 5-2? Why are they at 12? What is up with that?
Well, the answer to that question is the same every single year. They don't know where to put Notre Dame.
Well, exactly.
As an independent, they're kind of like the black sheep of college football. They don't really know where to stick them, but they always feel like, well, we should stick them. We should stick them in the mix somewhere. And I wouldn't be surprised that if they find a way to get in, of course, a 5-game winning streak for the Fighting Irish. One of those losses was to Texas A&M by 1 point. One of those losses was to a ranked Miami team by 3 points. But, you're right. 5 wins in a row. The only ranked win coming from the last time that they were out against USC, a 34-24 win over USC, who is ranked 20th.
Who have they got coming next? Down the road, who else do they got? Boston College at 1-7?
Nobody.
Really? Think about this.
Literally no ranked teams left.
Right. Now, and strength of schedule. We've always talked about the strength of schedule, right? How can they even be in the mix of things? And I'm not an anti, don't get me wrong. South Bend is great. It's a beautiful campus, blah, blah, blah. And it's Notre Dame. And the bottom line is, Mark, and this is what, we'll go over some of these teams here in a little bit. The bottom line is Notre Dame's fans show up.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And, who are they? Remember, who are they? The committee?
Yeah.
The voters? Well, maybe they are Fighting Irish fans. I don't know. But what I do know is let's say Notre Dame wins out and they have this X and 2-loss record. I think that they will get in over someone else who is X and 1. And maybe multiple teams that are X and 1. So, we had the issue last year with the CFP rankings and some teams being essentially eliminated due to strength of schedule. I don't know that you can really make an argument here. Okay, fine. They lost to number 3 Texas A&M, but it was only by 1 point. A loss is still a loss.
In South Bend.
A loss is still a loss. It was a home loss. It was early in the season. I don't know. It does leave kind of a sour taste in my mouth as well. I know that there are some big games going on this weekend, and none bigger than Ohio State versus Penn State. That one kicking off early this morning, actually right after our show.
Correct.
Playoff shaping showdown here. Now, I don't know that anybody necessarily outside of Nittany Lions fans believe that Penn State has a chance in this one, but there's always a chance, I guess, in the Big Ten. But Ohio State, Tracy, this is a team that I'm going to be honest, they just look like the real deal, and they look better than they did last year.
They look like a pro team, man.
If that's even possible, right? So, Ryan Day does such a great job leading this team coaching, and Julian Sain, the quarterback, he'll break 2,000 passing yards this weekend, 19 TDs, 3 interceptions, and 80% completion rate. Guys like Cooper Buss out there, right? Just slinging him downfield. His receivers come up with him. He's efficient, explosive. Jeremiah Smith is going to be playing in the NFL and really boosting the receiving core of some teams coming up on Sundays soon. This team, just start to finish, the accuracy, the confidence, the way that they stretch defenses and shut down opponents, they are the real deal, and they are the team to beat. I know I joked during the break, what's it going to take for Indiana to take over the number 1 spot? Yeah. I don't know that there's a way. If both of these teams continue on the same trajectory, the only way is if Ohio State gets tripped up somewhere. But looking at the schedule, where's that going to happen?
Well, that's another thing, too. Indiana, strength of schedule, obviously. But they got some believers in them. You know what I mean? But let that just play itself out. There's some teams out there right now that, like you were saying, that are going to be on the outside looking in when it's all said and done because of strength of schedule. But there's some teams out here that are real, and including your Ducks. They
still in the mix.
They stumbled a little bit, but you know what? They everybody has.
I'm thankful for the 12-team playoff.
Well, that's the whole deal, And BYU, why are they 10th?
So I'm talking about, like, you play who's on your schedule.
They can't help that.
And you've beaten everybody who's on your schedule.
So that ought to speak volumes. When you got a big 0 behind your wins, that ought to speak volumes. Yeah. I would think. I don't know back in the day it did, but then again, it's the AP. Well, if you go by the coaches poll,
I know
it's different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And those guys know, I don't know how these writers how this is that impactful because you're a writer, I'm a writer, so to speak. And we know a little bit about football, but coaches know football.
Oh, yes.
Especially the ones that have a voting stance and have played against those teams. And that's what kicks me in the ribs, not below, but in the ribs. Okay, it's a high kick. But that's what gets me every time on that one. You know, I mean.
Like a Bruce Lee kick?
It's a Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have actually had kicks from him, literally.
I don't want to, this show is going to go off the rails if you tell me that Chuck Norris... Because not Bruce. Are you telling me that Chuck Norris has kicked you in the ribs?
I've took a roundhouse kick from him before.
From Chuck Norris.
I was on the Walker, Texas Ranger.
The guy who the boogeyman hides from.
No, that's the whole plan. Yes, roundhouse kicks. Sure enough. You've seen footage of it.
Hey, here's a cool story. LSU fires Brian Kelly after a loss to Texas A&M. LSU, another big team to get rid of its head coach. Brian Kelly, of course, had time at Notre Dame. Didn't really pan out the way it wants to at LSU. I know that there's some other teams, around the area, some of them kind of locally, that are looking for a head coach at the end of this year. I don't know if the interim coach is going to stay over at Arkansas. I'm not sure about that.
Let's do a whole segment on that one because let's give it one more week, and then we're going to come back and do a whole segment on that because right now Arkansas's on the. If you want to talk about teams looking on the outside, looking in, because all of a sudden another SEC team is looking for a coach. And I got news for you. Arkansas is going to be fifth seat. You got other teams that are looking. Florida, you got all kinds of teams that are looking for coaches. And Arkansas is definitely not in the mix right now.
It's the domino effect because now with LSU open, suddenly Arkansas is not as lucrative of a job anymore.
Well, I don't know if it was to begin with, Pittman.
And you can make that argument.
Let's not get off track.
Hogs play Mississippi State later today.
Dogs and hogs.
Dogs and hogs. Dogs and hogs. When we come back, we're going to talk a little NFL, some MLB, just a little bit of everything. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition continues in just a moment. Stick with us. 92.9 KVRE.
It's a hodgepodge today. Third quarter coming up.
It's the third quarter on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, as we turn our attention to the MLB, Game 3 of the World Series was a fun one to watch. And Tracy, I'll be honest, I tried so hard to get through all of that game. I think I ended up passing out as like 1 a.m. They're in the 13th inning, still tied at 5. And, well, when I woke up the next morning, I was very surprised to see that one went 18 innings, tying the record set in 2018 when the Dodgers faced the Red Sox, also in a Game 3 epic there. 6 hours and 39 minutes.
Whoa.
The second longest World Series game by time, because that 2018 game was 7 hours and 20 minutes. Of course, it wasn't just dramatic. It was legendary Freddie Freeman hitting the walk-off homer in the bottom of the 18th, echoing Max Muncy's 2018 walk-off for the Dodgers. So for the only two World Series games to ever go 18 innings, both involve the LA Dodgers, and both also involve a certain national anthem singer. Did you see this one?
Well, that was special. That was special. And I mean, once you, I don't know if you can take part of that as whatever, but he, in the post interview, he was commenting on that. And he didn't take all the credit for it either.
Well, Brad Paisley, both times that he has sung the national anthem, those games go 18 innings, and he says, I would now like to be referred to as Mr. More Baseball.
I like that one. That one's pretty good. And, of course, we listen to Brad Paisley a lot around here and such, and it's one of those deals. But here's what's even bigger, though. You think about it, and, of course, we're right in the midst of and we're taping this on Wednesday. Sorry, guys. But what other records, though, during that? I mean, Ohtani goes 9 for 9, and just all kinds of stuff in that crazy. And it was just one of those epic games. I fell out. I'm sorry, guys. I'm up at every morning at 4:30.
Yep.
And I watched the replay and the highlights in the next morning when I got up. But something special. But I did see what was so special was that the one gentleman with his two kids there, and they stayed through the whole thing. And he said, no, you don't have to go to school tomorrow. But the interview was there. And, of course, their background is, they're Japanese. And it was so – that right there just shows you how big the game can be on a positive note. when it's so family oriented and just being part of an epic game that those kids will be able to talk about forever and ever and ever. And I think that right there alone is the stuff that saves games. It saves the heritage, and makes it so much more valuable. It is the consistency of bringing up the younger generation in a positive way and making it happen. If you want to talk, and I'm not going to get on the bandwagon of Ohtani, which I already am. I just huge effect what he has on the sport already.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys, after we talked about earlier about the NBA, about what he means to baseball. And also the Freddie Freemans of the world and everybody and our guy over on your Jays team too, and being raised in, when they won, their division and won he was crying, and
won
showing
the back-to-backs, yes.
And they were showing videos of him when he was on the, out there when his dad was playing, when he was a little guy grabbing the baseball bats and stuff like that. That right there is unbelievable, the representation. But this is one that'll go down in history, man, and our kids, grandkids, kids will be talking about it.
Yeah, the fan IQ, I think, is something that I know that I have in terms of the self-realization. I think we're watching the greatest baseball player of all time as he's playing. Normally, it's like you look back and like, man, that guy was really good. That guy was the best. Maybe others probably had it while Michael Jordan was playing, and maybe people started to figure it out while Tom Brady was playing. But right now, there's no doubt about it in my mind that Shohei Ohtani is that guy. And, still has a long career ahead of him. And maybe he doesn't remain that guy. Maybe something happens or, heaven forbid, injury takes him away from the game. But in this moment, at this time, it looks like you're watching that history unfold. And you mentioned how much it means to stick it through the game. I know that if it was my family, it would be like, no, we're staying. We paid $2,000 per ticket. We're not leaving until it's over. I'm getting my money's worth. All 18 innings.
Okay, do you recall, what was it, some years ago when Arkansas and Ole Miss played, 10 overtimes?
Yeah.
I stayed with that one, and I did. I mean, the 5-hour game, and I stayed with that one when the rules were different. And they were back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
And back. And it was 5 hours and something. I did stay with that one. And it was on a Saturday, so I didn't, Sunday morning, blah, blah, blah. But the effect of that one, and I'll never forget that one. But, and you and I comment this all the time about just the relationship that Ohtani has with not only the United States, but, over in Japan and the world.
Truly feels like a World Series finally.
That's it.
Really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at, I love the flashbacks that they have of even up at Canada when they're showing up there at the stadium. It's filled up.
Oh, yes.
And they're watching it on the big screen. Well, over in Japan, they're watching it from the stadium over there. And it's unbelievable. I don't know, man. I don't want to get sentimental on you guys, but Ohtani is a whole representation of something that the guy is open for everything. He does interviews. He's and he's in the spotlight all the time, but he's so humble. And I think that right there, let alone, because he wasn't always, let's think about it. When he was with the other team.
The Angels.
And when he was over playing in Japanese leagues, okay? The guy's 31 years old. He's been around the game a long time. He started when he was 8 years old. But this is his time to shine, and he's really showing, and like we said a while ago, the guys that are, and we comment and we make light of this all the time, it's the Dodgers. Best money can buy, obviously. But his surroundings, the guy that he's got around him right now, are making him even better because they're good, the Freddie Freemans of the world. And for him to smack that one in the other game, man, that was just, after getting MVP last year.
That's right.
And then, and it's Halloween, right? Did you see when he was out trick-or-treating with his kids? And one of the other kids in the block came up and was dressed like him?
Yeah.
And the kid didn't recognize him. He goes, that's a neat outfit. He goes, he's my favorite player. He said, oh, really?
Uh-huh.
And he didn't recognize him. That was, that was classic.
He's got Hall of Fame written all over his career. And Shohei Ohtani can do it all, especially serving up that 2-run home run to Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Game 4. It's obvious I'm rooting for the Blue Jays in this one. Hey, let's switch gears here over to the NFL. Tracy, it's week 9, and things are starting to come together. Of course, the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, back in action after the hamstring injury, played on Thursday night against Miami. And then also, things are starting to take shape in the conferences. Of course, the Indianapolis Colts lead the NFL with that 7-1 record. And you've got a couple teams surging behind 5-game winning streaks. Denver The Broncos, which may not surprise you, but perhaps the New England Patriots, which even surprised me a little bit, leading the division. There's some really big games going on this weekend, and none bigger, I think, than this one here. Sunday afternoon, Chiefs at Bills. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. Mahomes versus Allen is always must-watch TV, but Josh Allen is 4-1 against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, despite the Chiefs ending Buffalo's season 4 out of the last 5 years. Mahomes and Allen, Chiefs and Bills. Who do you like more, Bills at home?
Well, they're starting to come back, and Mahomes is Mahomes. I made this comment earlier this week, especially after what they did to Washington. Look, love him or dislike him, whatever the case is, the dude's real. I mean, it's just that simple. His vision on the field is something special. What he does off the field is his own, own deal. But when he does what he does on the field, there's no other quarterbacks right now that can do that. I'll be honest with you. I was amazed at some of the stuff. His no-look passes, of course, his scrambling effects, and then his personality when he gets the calls. I mean, he gets the calls. But then you got a resurgent Josh Allen right now that really put some points on the board, which we were, accustomed to seeing. And, because we had doubted them earlier when they took a couple of those losses right in a row. But I think that this could be one of the best games. But you know as well as I do, anybody that plays the sport, this is great. But the finals, when you get into the playoffs, and man, they just had his number. I think that it's going to be a big time game. Now, here's the deal. It's at Buffalo. The weather that we're getting right now, okay, that we had earlier this week, is going to be there tomorrow. And we're talking a nor'easter. Now, I know Kansas City plays in it also.
Yeah.
But the effects could be a little bit different. I don't know. The ball, the wind, the throwing aspect of it. So I think that the running game, because field goals ain't going to matter much in this. It's supposed to be blustery out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if the throwing aspect, of course, they both got guns for arms, but I think the running game is, and Pacheco, man, he's on it right now.
He's starting to turn it up right now. Of course, Kansas City, of course, the big story. They have all of their players back. Everybody's healthy, and even Travis Kelce had 99 yards, had a touchdown last week. He looked like he was in postseason form with that chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. A little bit of a slow start, but it's about how you finish, not how you start. Kansas City 1.5-point favorites here. If you're Buffalo, you have home field advantage. This feels like a playoff game if you're the Bills, in my opinion. You're already second in the division to the New England Patriots, who get a juicy home matchup, I might add. The Patriots are going to host the blundering Atlanta Falcons. They could be 6 in a row for New England, so a New England win and a Buffalo loss, that furthers the gap from the division leader. And with the way the New England's playing, that may be hard to overcome at this point. So this feels like a playoff game. Buffalo has to pull out all the stops and get it done. Like you said, I do like James Cook versus Isaiah Pacheco in terms of the running game. I think Cook is better on the ground. If that passing game is neutralized from Patrick Mahomes due to weather or due to any other factor out there, I think this does go to Buffalo. But I do believe Kansas City goes into this match on the road, hostile environment. Tables are going to be broken, but I think Kansas City is going to leave happy.
Well, and here's the deal, though. The thing with Cook, not necessarily his rushing yards, it's those swing passes that he always catches.
Oh, yes.
And well, like I was saying, the wind is going to be, and it may die down. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm not a weatherman, but I'm just telling you, the long ball, it's going to be the check downs, like he's so good at the little swing passes, and he always gets one of those out in the flats and makes the best of it. That's where he comes through almost always. And if the weather is a factor, that is going to be instrumental. I like the Bills at home. Now, here's the biggest thing: we saw the posse leaving early. I don't think they'll leave early on this one. It is Kansas City. So, all right, this one's for Soda Pop.
You're going Bills?
I'm going Bills.
I'm going Chiefs.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Gatorade.
How about Colts at Steelers on Sunday afternoon? Of course, the Colts are the best team in the NFL and are favored by 3 points, and a big chance for Indy to solidify its continued dominance, not only in the AFC, but really putting a stranglehold on that division. Pittsburgh also a division leader as well and at home. But Indianapolis's defense has been quite stout this year. To go with the offense, they're the complete package. They are 2 division leaders going head-to-head in this one. Do the Steelers have what it takes to trip up Indiana Jones and the Colts?
The film on them is going to tell the story after what Green Bay did to them, Mark. Here's the bottom line. And I love Mike Tomlin, don't get me wrong. I think is time catching up with him? Because why I don't understand some of the things he's doing. It's old school football they're still playing. Why would you punt on your 45-yard line? And I know their field goal kicker missed 3 the other night, okay? I know that. But why do you punt the ball on the other guy's 45-yard line? That's old school stuff, trying to pin them down. Everybody goes on 4th down these days. Not the Steelers, not even with Aaron Rodgers. And if you watch enough film, you'll see exactly what Green Bay did to them the other night. And I'm going to tell you right now, Indianapolis they've got the real deal. I'm just telling you right now. They've got the real defense to come after. And here's a bigger question than we're all looking at right now. We're only halfway through. And I know that you know, as well as the bumps and bruises you get. And if some guy that's 41 years old, he's going to catch up with you sooner or later. You take enough hits like you did against Green Bay, there's not enough therapy in the week to get you back up to spell. Rodgers is a tough dude, don't get me wrong. But here's the bottom line, man. Indianapolis is going to come after him, and I'm going to come after him strong. And here's another one. I'm going to go back a little bit. You know that all of a sudden the guys in Vegas have already got Baltimore coming back and winning that division?
They do.
So Pittsburgh, okay, let's in Cincinnati, we love the quarterback that's there right now, speaking of old guys.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Their schedule coming up, Pittsburgh's is less than Baltimore's. And that's what they're going on right now. Though since Cincinnati's, they're going to catch up with Joe. I'm sorry. He's a great quarterback. We saw what happened. I mean, really? I mean, the Jets? Come on, really?
Yeah. In a shootout.
In a shootout. And so he's going to put points on the board because he's got the best receiving core in the league.
I mean, he did if it was Joe Burrow under center there. Yeah.
But there's not. So there's Joe too. But I'm going to tell you right now, Pittsburgh, it's going to be tough on them from here on out.
Here's another matchup that I think you might be interested in. These are two teams in desperate need of a win. I think the NFL knew that. That's why they put them at Monday night. Cowboys at Cardinals. Dallas hanging in there in the mix. Of course, looking up at the Philadelphia Eagles in the division standings. Arizona in last place in the NFC West. That defense is going to face a tough test. They need this win to stay in the hunt with everyone else in that division neck and neck fighting for top of the pecking order.
Well, in Arizona, they've had Dallas's number. If you look back in the most recent years, they don't need anybody. Arizona just shows up. The Cardinals make them falter. And of course, Dallas doesn't even have a defense right now. I literally felt sorry for them the other day when 3 of the D-backs, which were already horrible anyway, secondary, but they had that rookie on there that was just getting burned play after play. You saw Denver's offense just go after him 3 and 4 and 5 times in a row. I mean, it was relentless. Well, you don't think the junior's not going to have a big night against that secondary if they don't put any pressure on him at all? And I don't know, Dak, give it back. Who's going to show up? Because he obviously, his passes were lackluster the other night. Everybody blamed it on the Denver Mile High Stadium. Wang. Okay, you saw CeeDee Lamb every other play going off the field, going over there and getting oxygen. Well, guess what? Put him in a barometric pressure chamber or something like that. If you know you're going to Denver, look, man, study, get ready for it. It's just that simple. You know the elevation's there. Start intaking oxygen more that week, and there's no excuses for that. I don't care.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody in the league, eventually you're going to go play in Denver.
This is simple.
This is not, oh no, what do we do? Everybody knows.
I expect a high-scoring game, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I really do. Dallas comes out on top on one of the – and I'm talking about – listen to this. I'm going back all the way back to when it was St. Louis Cardinals and stuff like that. I'm telling you, I'm going way back. And sure enough, they just always seem to have Dallas's number.
So this one means something to the Cowboys in terms of the rivalry between the two teams. Gotcha.
Yeah, they have to. But once again, midway point right here, and you're vying for second place, basically. That's all you're doing right now. That's all you're doing because the Eagles are resurging again. All of a sudden, they're finding their second breath. But if Dallas doesn't get this one, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be the rest of the year because they have got the toughest schedule coming up.
Yes, they do.
And they've got, and even the Giants at the bottom of the barrel, they always play them tough. We know that, the first game they played this year.
And the Giants are sneaky good, just with a bad record right now.
Well, they've been close most of the times in most of the games. But then, once again, the schedule for Dallas It's not good. I'm going to tell you that right now. They had some of their easiest games, and they blew it. So they better win this one because the rest of them are not going to get any easier. And it all boils down to Dak. What Dak is going to show up?
When we come back, it's our local roundup here on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. Stick with us on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Congratulations to National Park College Nighthawk men's soccer on winning its fourth straight NJCAA Region 2 championship. Coach Corey Irvine's Nighthawks fought to the finish in a gutsy draw on a soggy Saturday last week in DeQueen. And because NPC won the first meeting between the two teams, it means another banner will be soon hanging in the kettle. But NPC wants more than just a banner. It wants to get over the hump that lies ahead in the upcoming Central District Tournament. Team's going to be on the road in Missouri November 6th and 7th and is 2 wins away from advancing to its first national tournament in program history.
That's pretty good, Mark. I'm telling you what, we've got to get that guy on here. I don't know if we'll understand half of what he's saying, but you've been able to decipher it.
I'm a really good translator of thick Scottish. I gotcha.
Hey, a big one going down on Highway 7 about the Battle Ravine. Huh?
Oh, yes.
One of the oldest rivalries in the nation, going back to 18 and zillion, whatever it is.
Shout outs to my guy Rex Nelson. He had a great call with Ouachita's big win last week. Always love every time that the Tigers go into the land of milk and honey.
I know that was all. You had a pretty good call too last Friday night. We had a good one last night, but last Friday's was a possibility.
Yeah.
So you had a real good one against Malvern.
That one grew some legs for sure. In the Sully discussion, I mean, I don't make those decisions, but that was one of our best calls in years.
We've had a lot of compliments on that. And if you haven't heard it, I encourage you to go on our website here at KVRE. And I'm sure you've got it posted also. But go back and listen to it. It may be just the one that we bring home another one of those great little trophies.
True emotion.
Oh.
Unscripted.
Yeah.
Always, all the time.
That was something special. I'll be honest with you, Mark. And congratulations once again to all the teams that played last night. Pretty cool stuff. And we'll go over the playoff picture next week, right?
Yes, we will. Of course, basketballs are also bouncing in the kettle at National Park College. NPC men's basketball tips off its season on Friday night in Mississippi, and NPC women's basketball begins with its home opener this Monday night. They've got Arkansas Baptist College on tap. Make plans to join us in the kettle at NPC, 5:30 p.m. as Coach Eddie Broughton Sr.'s Nighthawk women look to not only repeat as Region 2 champions, but soar to new heights. And of course, if you can't make it out to the kettle, 5:30 p.m., the live stream will be online on YouTube, or you can go to our short link, np.edu/live.
Arkansas takes on the Dogs this afternoon, and Monday, you don't want to miss out. It all starts up a tip-off with the basketball for men's against Southern, and they had a pretty good couple of games the other night. And so, you know what? We'll see what happens there. Not too bad at all.
Yeah, squad looks really good, looking to rise up those national rankings, and when you win, it does things for you.
Hey, big day today out in California at Del Mar. This is the Classic, the Breeders' Cup Classic, and it's unbelievable. This one this year is, if you're a racing fan, this is a little mixed up for the first time. You've got 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds going against each other. Kentucky Derby winner, the Preakness winner going against older horses. So it's pretty good stuff right there, Mark. Unbelievable.
And that's our show, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. For Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. We'll see you next week.
Game over.